Good morning, book lovers of the internet. Welcome back to my channel. I am Book Nerd 802, and in this video, I am going to be reading a poem which I am at the moment teaching my students at the school I am working at. So it's crazy to think about how a couple of years when I physically went through all of the motions of giving birth to this channel, I believe it was still called Piano Loving Reader back then. I used to upload a video of me reading a poem every single day in either English or Maltese, and I have removed all of those videos because I wanted the channel to look better. They're all still archived, by the way, so I made them all private. If any of you would like to see any of them return, please just let me know in the comment section. And yeah, now I am basically doing this in a classroom in front of 17 students 3 times a week, and I never thought this would be the case. Teaching poetry is such a fun thing to do, and I wanted to read this poem because it has a fantastic rhythm. It's a very simple poem to understand, there isn't really any depth to it, but it's mainly fascinating because the rhythm of the poem mimics the way trains move across a country and the way used to be delivered all the way back in 1936. In fact, this poem, The Night Mail by W.H. Auden, was written in 1936 to accompany the documentary film of the same year and the same title. And apparently, according to my book here, the film was commissioned by the railway company, the London, Midland and Scottish Railway, LMS. Um, it was commissioned to publicize the mail train traveling from London to Scotland. So this is how the poem goes. The Night Mail by W.H. Auden. This is the night mail crossing the border, bringing the check and the postal order, letters for the rich, letters for the poor, the shop at the corner, the girl next door, pulling up Beatock, a steady climb, the gradient's against her but she's on time, past cotton grass and moorland boulder, shoveling white steam over her shoulder, snorting noisily as she passes, silent miles of wind-bent grasses, birds turn their heads as she approaches, stare from bushes at her blank-faced coaches, sheepdogs cannot turn her course, they slumber on with paws across. In the farm she passes, no one wakes, but a jug in a bedroom gently shakes. Dawn freshens, her climb is done. Down towards Glasgow she descends. Towards the steam tugs yelping down a glade of cranes. Towards the field of apparatus, the furnaces, set on the dark plain like gigantic chessmen. All Scotland waits for her. In dark glens beside pale green locks men long for news. Letters of thanks, letters from banks, letters of joy from girl and boy, receipted bills and invitations to inspect new stock or to visit relations, and applications for situations, and timid lovers' declarations, and gossip from all the nations, news circumstantial, news financial, letters with holiday snaps to enlarge in, letters with faces scrawled on the margin, letters from uncles, cousins, and aunts, letters to Scotland from the south of France, letters of condolence to highlands and lowlands, written on paper of every hue. The pink, the violet, the white and the blue, the chatty, the catty, the boring, the adoring, the cold and the official and the hearts outpouring, clever, stupid, short and long, the typed and the printed and the spelt all wrong, thousands are still asleep, dreaming of terrifying monsters, or a friendly tea beside the band in Cranston's or Crawford's, asleep in working Glasgow, asleep in well-set Edinburgh, asleep in granite Aberdeen, they continue their dreams, but shall wake soon and hope for letters, and none will hear the postman's knock without a quickening of the heart, for who can bear to feel himself forgotten? Now, what I really like about this poem, apart from the rhythm, if you listen to the video on YouTube, by the way, I'll put a link in the description. It is read very quickly, so much so that you can hardly understand the words, and it comes to a point where it really does start mimicking the noises a train usually makes. We don't have any in Malta, but I've been on trains before, and what I also really like about this poem is that the train is personified. It's given many features which are usually given to human people, and the poem really captures the soul of the train and its purpose so many years ago, almost a century ago, really. And my students were very, very quick to point out how communication has very much changed over the years. This was written at a time when social media wasn't even a thing. It wasn't. really invented yet, so it was really difficult to communicate with others. And honestly, as a race, we've improved so much when it comes to communication. Before, you had to wait for several days. Now it's just a matter of seconds. And yeah, honestly, trains I still find to be quite fascinating. I'm not Sheldon Lee Cooper when it comes to trains, of course, but this poem really um, was really fascinating to me for several reasons. I mean, there are the rhyming couplets towards the start of the poem. Then the rhythm starts to increase once again, giving us all the purposes that this train serves, basically. It is personified. There is the repetition of letters towards the start of several of the lines, which is referred to as anaphora with a PH, not an F, by the way. And yeah, I think that is mainly what I all I had to say about this poem. I went into a lot of depth about this poem with my students, and they had several exercises to complete. But as I mentioned, it's not really a difficult poem to understand, and what's fascinating about it is its rhythm. I really needed to take a breath after finishing that poem, even finishing reading the poem out loud, even in class, really. So um, yeah, honestly, it sounds like rap, and it is one of the reasons why I am such a huge fan of this poem, apart from the fact that there isn't really anything in between the lines, and the way it's read in the video I told you about mimics the way trains sound much better than I read the poem, that's for sure. So definitely take a look at the description of the video and click the link to listen to the video from the documentary and the poem being read whilst watching the video. I think you will find it to be rather enjoyable as well. But yeah, I mean, the students didn't really have any difficulty understanding this poem. Luckily, it wasn't particularly challenging for them. They really got a lot of vocabulary out of it, and I made sure that the lessons were thought provoking enough, especially when it came to comparing and contrasting the past with the present. Um, and they seemed to enjoy it, honestly. But yeah, that is all I had to say about The Night Mail by W.H. Auden. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Take a look at the rest of my content because why not? It's absolutely amazing. And I will see you in the next one, hopefully very, very soon. Bye, guys.